We are live. Welcome to another edition of Adobe Live Education Edition. I am Jess Lubinsky, Principal Evangelist on the education team, and with me, the face. You've seen it on YouTube. If you've ever been on YouTube, you've probably seen this face before. It's Claudio Zavala Jr.
What's up, everybody? Claudius Waller Jr., Education Evangelist at Adobe. Excited to be here today. We're gonna have some fun.
So, Claudio and I work together supporting the education community, and I'm really excited because we're doing something a little bit different than we usually do today, Claudio, because I think a lot of people associate when they see one of the two of us on Adobe Live, they're like, "Oh, we're in for some Adobe Express love." But today, Claudio, why don't you let everyone know what we're doing? My shirt gives it away a little bit too.
Uh, yeah, no, we're diving into Premiere on the iPhone, but we're gonna focus on like telling a day in the life. So think of just all the different types of days of the life, and I think Premiere on the iPhone is a great tool for doing that. And so we'll have some
Claudio,
examples.
he woke
Yeah, go
up,
ahead.
he got out of
Oh,
bed,
sorry.
dragged the comb across his hair. Yeah. So before we jump in though, like a lot of times I think when we think Premiere, we think of like the desktop application, hardcore video editing, but there's some pretty big differences here between, the Premiere Pro version that we're all typically used to using and the version that we're going to be demoing today, right? Claudia, what are the big like top level things that we want everyone to know about this version?
Absolutely. Yeah. We'll touch all the buttons inside and show you how like adding captions and audio tracks behind how to do a voiceover and then adding some footage, which I think we're gonna I'm really pumped about the what I'll share it
I
later
know
when we get to that point, but
you're
yeah.
you're all in for a real treat on this episode. But Claudio, I think the big treat up at the top. How much does it cost for the Premiere Pro mobile version that you're going to be using today?
So actually, it's free to download for everybody.
Yeah.
And you can create, when you dive into some of the AI features on Premiere on iPhone, then that's where you're using the credits to generate certain things. Like you can generate videos in there, and then if you want to generate sound effects, but for the most part, like everything else, like fully like editing, it's free to use. So.
And we're going to be on the mobile version. If you do not have it installed, as Claudio just said, like it's free, as our colleague Martine likes to say, right? Free 99. So it's our favorite price. So you can either download it and follow along with us, or again, this is recorded. This is on YouTube. Feel free to just follow the step by steps later if you want to try and do this on your own and do all the Claudio magic that we like to see happening. So Claudio, you mentioned that we're doing day in the life videos.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming if any of you have been on the interwebs before, you have seen a day in the life video. But for those who may not have, tell us a little bit about like what do we see when we go see that type of content online? What are we seeing in a day in the life video?
So I got some examples here that I'll pull
Oh,
up. So first off, after we gotta wait for like this little announcement to play through. So let this little quick commercial come through here. So this one, and I muted the audio, but this is like a day in the life college student. This one right here, and I'll just play a little bit of the audio. And I'm not going to play the entire 5 minutes because it's a fairly lengthy, but wake up call. But throughout this video, it's just talking about like starting the day, going to work out, and then going to classes. The thing that's really caught my attention about this day in the life, this is an engineer student, so obviously he's like giving us a view of kind of like the 3D printing that he does, the work that he does, field trips and things like that. But also, there's no talking in this video. I'll just go ahead and unmute for a sec. It's basically just music track, but he's got some captions and some like the timestamps in his video, and he does have like some of the things that are happening in like what's going on in the video. So this one's a nice example of like you don't have to even like talk in the video. You can just have a video playing like about your life, and then you can add captions and then a little music track behind it. So this I do like this example of the day in the life. So this is one example.
and you and I were
Uh,
talking like before, and I think the idea for this particular episode came up. You and I were talking about these types of videos and talking about all of the different possible iterations, not just that we've seen, but even the possible ways that you could use this. So um, I know for a lot of students, we've talked to college students, and both of our daughters are college students actually, and we've said both of our daughters have told us they love this type of content because as they're looking to get into their careers, they get to kind of see inside what those careers are. So we're taking a look at a student version right now, but here's a teacher version.
Yeah.
But imagine now just people generating content, letting them know what it's like to kind of live in their shoes and what a traditional day could be like.
Yeah, and this was another nice example here, and she's got the timestamps. Obviously, like as a teacher, you like have permission to post your students. Obviously, as to any teachers watching this, and you're creating content, make sure you have the permissions for your students to be on visuals. And so this one, she is kind of doing a voiceover on this one as she's talking about her day, but this is really neat, like every like single step of everything that she does like on this specific day, and talking about like and this being an elementary teacher, so she pretty much touches all different subjects. And this, while that this one is loading, this one's a high school teacher, and she's starting off like the day in her car and then going to the class again. And in this case, she is doing some voiceover and then some like time lapse stuff. The time lapse thing is really neat to take advantage of when you're doing these days in the life. And I'll just do a little fast forward here. So she's back in the car talking, and then she's doing a front face talking. So again, there's different styles. Like we go back to the student one. He's basically just kind of living out his life, and then the music in the background. And this one, it's more like a front facing, like, let me give you some tidbits, show you something that happens, give you some tidbit of information and more stuff.
And Claudio, I love, first of all, I love the time lapse effect, or to show time passing quickly, because then you can really get that full day into a short video. But my other big takeaway is, as a former math teacher, we noticed in the elementary classroom there was the disco ball, and then in the high school there's just light. So if we were to draw a graph over time, disco balls, as grade level increases, disco balls decrease. So that is
Yeah.
disco lights decrease, more normal lighting as we go. Right. It's inversely proportional. Right.
Yeah, that's a good.
So there we go.
And
So
this one right here is different. So we've got the student, teacher, two different teachers. This one's kind of a professional, like this. I think she's a realtor talking about like getting ready in the morning, and then she does her makeup thing. And but this one she's doing a lot of voiceover. You can see the caption right here. So she's basically like just doing the voiceover, and that's her day is going. As far as like lengthwise, they vary. I guess you just have to know your audience. The shorter, maybe some of your, students maybe need it shorter, quicker, but teachers can be a little longer.
but and I think we've all on our team, we've all made different variations of like day in the life or conference in the life, or just trying to give people a sense of what the experience is like to work as an educator, but someone who's at Adobe. But Claudio, you and I talked about some other use cases for this. So not just kind of day in the life of like a career or even a student, but what if we're a teacher and we're having our students create like day in the life of a fictional figure or something they're studying? And that becomes a whole different area of possibility for where students can tap into their creativity, but still generate content with this same type of format in mind.
100%. Yeah. And obviously we can give our daily what's going on from student perspective, teacher perspective, but I'd let as you mentioned, the like taking this and kind of instructionally use it. And I mean, historical figure, math famous, if you're in a math class, mathematicians kind of like their day in their life. I mean, if we can really have fun with like a Leonardo da Vinci.
Might want to skip the mathematician, but yeah, maybe Leonardo da Vinci. That's that's a good one. I like that.
Like a Leonardo da Vinci, like from perspective, because like if we can say, hey, go back in history and create a day in the life of a historical figure, or like a time period, some things that happen, and like really great for like giving perspective, like the voice of people during that time, and also kind of like just having the student, giving them agency to be creative on how they're going to share that story.
And so we've been talking for around 10 minutes around the idea here, but I think it's time to jump in and see like, how do we start to make one of these in Premiere Pro on our phone?
Absolutely. So let me get switched up here. So we're going to do a little switcheroo here. Let me get my phone.
And we'll give Claudio a second to switch over to his phone. Like we love to say, right? Nothing ever goes wrong in a live demo. So this is all going to be super smooth, perfect
100%.
transitions. Right, here we go.
All right.
And wait, I
So
just want to point out how nice and organized your phone is. I noticed this when we were practicing, and just look. I wouldn't expect any less from you. Look how everything's so neatly organized into folders here. Just thought it was
yeah.
worth noting that. So props to you, Claudio.
Hey, all right. So you can see you should be able to see hopefully my phone at this time. We're going to be modeling from the phone, and so let me load up Premiere here on iPhone, which like Jesse's saying, if you don't have it on your phone, download it, or you can watch and check it out later. So on the note, Jesse, of like a historical figure, so I went with that, and I was thinking like let's do a kind of a fun look at the Oregon Trail coming from traveling.
I'm a little bit worried that this video is going to end with you dying of dysentery at the end. That's nervous.
The good news is no, I do not know.
Okay,
He's the main
good.
character. This we do have some of those. We may have a moment in there that happens. So um the
Okay,
cool thing is, so let me start off first. So what you're looking at is all these different projects. If you haven't checked out Premiere on iPhone, there's some really neat YouTube short templates, and I'm just gonna do just plug this really quick. That one right there with the little lockets, that's actually my template right there. So if you check that, it's a photo template, so you can drop in photos. So I'm just plugging that there just to let you all know
oh,
that
that's
that's mine.
yours.
Yeah, that one's mine right there. So, so all right, yeah, definitely a shameless plug right
He
there.
does not.
All
He
right,
does not get any commission for the use
no,
of that.
no,
So
none
just
at
it's
all.
it's all it's more for ego and just
All right, let me start off a new project here. So at the bottom right, and really you can start from anywhere. It says new from photo library. I'm just used to hitting that blue universal button that we have in a lot of the Adobe tools. So let's start off a new project here. I'm going to skip this part because my footage is not on my camera roll. I actually have it in a folder. So uh, let me dive down here. So I'm going to first off just add all my footage that I'm going to be using for the project. So I'll at the bottom of the screen you should see the videos and images button. And from there, if I have it in my photo library, that's where I'll take it. And when I mentioned Jesse, like if you want to generate videos and so like that generate videos there, which does use those credits. So that's where like you would need to have like a full subscription, but you can use it without that. So which is good. So I'm going to go to my file. So I have the folders on my phone here. Again, so you can see my organization here. Let me go find it. So this is the Oregon Trail. So let's go down. There it is, Oregon Trail. So here's the footage that I'm going to be using for this
I'm
video
already so
project.
excited for this. This is
And so yeah, I was telling Jesse, so I've got this footage, which and hopefully it added, and by looking at it, it looks like it didn't put it in the right order. So that's okay. I'll do a little reorganization. All this footage that I'm using here, I actually made in Firefly. I used boards. All of it's just prompt generated because
and
I
so
need to
another
find footage.
shameless plug. You and Wesi did a recent episode featuring Firefly boards, so you can actually go check that out and see if you're not familiar with Firefly boards, how you can be using that to create uh, content.
All right, so now I just got to remember which is the first footage. Let's see here. I believe we're gonna go with this one right here.
Which is
So
good because if you were to die of dysentery and then in the next scene you're back alive, it's an entirely different plot to the
pretty
whole
much, yeah, and
day of the life, right?
pretty much the video would be completely done. It would be over. That's our story. All right, so here we go. We're gonna drag. So this is basically dragging the footage, organizing it. So this is like waking up. So I've got some little reorganization here to do. So let's see here.
So while you're doing that, I'll just
Yeah, go
note.
ahead,
So
go ahead.
Claudio
Yeah,
talked about how these were created in Firefly, but again, you can do a mix of content. So whether you're using stock content, whether you're using content you've taken on your own device, whether you're actually creating content out in Firefly boards, as long as you can get it into that video format, it can be supported here within the editor. So as Claudio did, he imported a batch of videos all at once, but you can bring them into the project one at a time. There's no set way that you have to do this, right? It works just like a traditional video editor would, whether you're using it on desktop or whether you're using it on iPhone, as Claudio is doing right now.
all right, so I'm pretty much almost ready to. I've just got a couple more. So what you're seeing me do is just dragging the clips, which is a great that you're able to do this in Premiere. So again, I could have dragged them in one at a time, but I just like doing it all at once. So let's go ahead. Almost done here getting these organized, Jesse. So let's see here. We have the wagon buffalo view here, and then we have this is we did mention a little bit of dysentery. So I do have a little dysentery
Uh
footage in here. So there is
oh.
some of that happening. The serious moment, and all right, perfect. So I've got all the footage ready to go.
Okay,
Um,
perfect.
Now, because I use Firefly, it did add some audio effects to it, so I'll just do a quick play, which is kind of neat that Firefly adds that sound footage here. Um, Someone waking up. All right. So what I'm going to do here is I may leave some of that audio just kind of in the background. So I don't know if you notice at the bottom there, you see the wavelengths there. So the audio kind of differs per video just because of the way it was generated. And so what
And
I'm
just
going
really
to,
quickly, I
yeah,
noticed the timeline expand a little bit. Are you
yeah,
using two fingers to?
yeah.
I
You
can
see
tell.
those
I can
those
see
two
the two
dots?
circles, right?
Yeah.
That's what I figured. Those are your fingers. Okay.
Yeah. So I got the two little dots right there. So that's great to be able to get like kind of if you need to get some finite editing there. I'm gonna head down to I selected that clip, so that's what I'm doing on the timeline. Select that clip and go to volume, and I'm gonna drag this down because it's defaulted to 100% volume, whatever it was brought in. So I'm bringing it down, and then here's the this is that button on the left there. It's got like little three boxes with a check mark. That's apply to all, so they're all going to have the same volume level, which is neat. So I don't have to go to each clip to adjust the volume. So they're all going to be at like 74% volume, um, which is great because now, like I said, I don't have to go to each little clip and do that. So we've got pretty much our footage, would say trimmed to where I want it to be. And so it's basically like kind of a rough assembly of the clips. Now, one other thing as I look through as which I think Firefly did a great job, it kind of added kind of a if you look at like movies from like the westerns, they have always kind of that amber tone to them.
That
It's
like
just kind of
hue that's in
a
the back.
yeah,
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
and if futuristic movies have kind of like a bluish tone. So um I'm gonna do something just really quick at the bottom, which is nice because you have this is a really cool feature, which is the looks.
Now,
So at the
did you ask it to add that color tone or scheme, or it recognized that based on when you were generating
yeah,
your
so
prompt?
yeah, so it actually added it. So I did say cinematic look, but I said 18. I did put a keyword 1840s Oregon Trail, like the time.
Oh, okay.
And so I think, and I did use VO 3.1 or 3.0. So the Google the one of the partners that we have in Firefly. So I did use that one, and so I think the 1840s gave it
Okay.
that look. So
Interesting.
yeah. So what you can do as well as you can override that. So at the bottom, do you see that looks button there, Jesse, at the bottom? Hopefully you can.
Um, no, we don't see the bottom. I still see the timeline.
Okay, hold on. Let me see. Do you
Yep.
see it?
Okay, now I
Yeah.
see the
Okay.
bottom.
All right. Cool.
And I
So
see
we
the looks
have
button.
looks button right there at the bottom. So this is basically like in Premiere, when using Premiere, you have like what we call LUTs, lookup tables, is what that stands for. And basically, they're like color profiles that are created sometimes by camera, by different companies. And something you can make sometimes you can make your own. So if I hit like let's go like there's some default ones, but like maybe like this one has kind of like a fade to it. So see already it looks very different.
Hmm.
And if I hit apply to all, so I'm going to go ahead and like now slide through. So see how now all of them have kind of a
Have that
little bit of
same
that
look
same fade.
applied.
Yeah. Um, and then if I want to, it's like, okay, I do like that fade, but I still want to have like that color to pop, that kind of kind of almost like contrast, like high contrast or saturation. So I'm gonna just bump up. So what I did is I did that pretty quick. That next to looks, there's adjust. Actually, yeah, adjust. And then clicked on saturation. So see how I'm bumping up the saturation. So I still have that kind of a flat kind of look to it. And maybe I'll bump up some of the vibrance there. So, because I still want to have that kind of effect, but oh, I did forget to do one thing. Let's go back to that. apply to all. So that way everything has that. Yep. So I still have kind of the colors were showing through, but kind of a little bit of a faded look.
So it's nice
Now,
because then with one
yeah.
click, essentially, you're every change you make, you don't have to then do individually. It can consistently be applied to all of those different scenes.
Yep. Yep. And so when I get to this one, this is the footage of like kind of like a river crossing. It did look different because when I told Firefly add some clouds to it, so it did give it that kind of a look, like
Stormy kind
stormy
of,
look.
yeah.
And then we're back to kind of like the traditional kind of look. All right. So yeah, that's gonna be fun when we get to that dysentery point. All right, so I'll do a quick play. So we've got you can hear hopefully it's
The
the
rumble, we can hear it,
wagon.
yeah.
And then the guy waking up in the morning, sunrise there, perfect. And he's kind of laying down, still hearing the wagon. All right, so I like those sounds. I'm gonna leave it there, but I am gonna add like a voiceover because this is gonna be a day in the life of Oregon Trail, someone traveling on the Oregon Trail. So I've got the color grading, and so actually what I want to do now is let's add some like what's going on. Like I want to say the day in the life. And so what we'll do is on the plus sign on the bottom, let's head on over to our titles and captions. So I'm not going to add the full on captions just yet because I haven't actually done the voiceover. But let's say, um, let's see, day in the life, Oregon Trail Pioneer, and there we go. So we're going to go ahead now. So when I hit play, I was just going to show up because it's again just there. Let's do a little bit of stylizing of that text. So down at the bottom with that text selected, we're going to stylize it. And so we have these templates already here. So I'm going to see which one would kind of fit, I think I kind of like that style of font for this day in the life. Everything else just looks a little too modern for this. It's a little
Now,
too,
notice one thing you're seeing on the style also is the day in the life you chose. That black background that's on that text is actually what's going to show up. You could see the checkered background kind of in the background of some of those fonts, right? So that'll apply
yeah,
the transparent look
yeah.
to the font.
And so with that said, what I think I'm going to do here, okay, so we got templates and we got fonts. So if I want to use a different font, I can. This one looks kind of cool, but
I was
I
gonna
think
say
I'm going to,
what was the font of choice back in the 1840s? I don't
yeah,
know.
what was the font? It shows that, how many fonts?
Wingdings,
Maybe they only had one font.
ransom notes for the the
um,
wanted posters.
Actually, I think this one looks kind of neat. I like that right there. So now what I'm going to do is go to color. And you were talking about some of those fonts didn't have the background there, Jesse. So even if you select some of those other fonts that don't
You
have
can
a
still choose
background,
background,
you can
right?
still. So I'm going to go to background. And if I hit there, see that first button there says, so this is a white background. Obviously, I can't use that. It's hard to read. But there, if I choose that, so now it's got a transparent look. And then, so here's the opacity of if I decide to keep it, but again, it's opaque. Let's hit the text there, and the text is set at 100%. The color is that. Or if I want to pick something that fits more of the, Oregon Trail, but I think this one looks just fine. I think I like that. And let's go ahead and let's do a little transforming here. And when I say what transforming is, basically like we can make it smaller,
By the way, it's
larger.
great that while you're because you're on your phone,
Yeah.
so obviously you want to try to minimize the amount of interaction you have to do to get what you want. And it was really great that if you looked at those font choices, it gave you the recommended colors that did match the hue and the palette of kind of the scene already. So the fact is, then I have to go digging around less, or even using like the eyedropper to try to pick things out because it's already identifying those colors that you would want to use in this.
Yeah. And so I think so far, I think I like that. And now one thing that I'm going to do, because what I want the font is, the font just shows up and then it's like there. Okay. I want to add a little bit of, I would say, um, I would say fun with it. So let's hit transition right here um, for the font itself. So basically what that means is where that I'm going to use my two fingers here to show you. Let's zoom in. So there's the timeline for the font. Um, it's set to about 4 seconds. I'm going to bring that down to about 2.5. So it's hard to see maybe from there, but use that 2.5, that's 2.5 seconds there. And then we have that transitions button on the bottom right. So what that gives me the option for intro and outro, meaning like how when that text comes in, when I hit play, is that text going to be right away or is it going to dissolve or pop up? So these are some really cool effects here. So let's see, push up. Let's see how it kind of does a push up right there, or does it dissolve in? Um, Again, these are some great choices. Maybe that zoom in, I'm going to go kind of about half a second zoom in, and then for outro, we'll do a zoom out outro. There we go. So now let's hit play here. And actually, I'm going to wait just a little bit for this to start. There we go. So what I just did is I'm going to zoom super
Give
in,
it like that delay before it kind of
and
pops
then
in
it'll
there.
pop in right there. So let's see. Let's hit play. Boom, there it is. And then it fades out. Um, the cool thing about this is after, if as I go through it, I may come back to that font and be like, after all, I don't like it. But again, it's a great thing. You can always go. Because now that I'm looking at it, it's hard.
It's a little
Anyways,
hard to read because
a little hard to read.
it's yeah, right.
So you know what? Easy fix. Let's come back to color and actually font. And there we go. That's it. There we go. Now we can see it. Still the font. So really neat thing. Again, you have multiple versions of that font. So now I think it's great. And maybe instead of white, change it, style, color. And now you said this right earlier, Jesse, as far as like recommended. Look at
Yeah.
it's giving me like some recommended font colors, to kind of go with the theme or the color theme of this. Maybe go something with,
Yeah,
I
little
think I'm gonna stick with
off-white.
white just so it pops, just so we can see it well. All right. Cool. So we've got pretty much now. I think what we'll do is let's add, so we're gonna kind of have some fun with this day in the life. So we've got a couple of voiceovers that we're gonna do here. And so what I'll do here is tap on that plus sign. And so you're going to see we're going to create this day in the life from the perspective of this pioneer. And let's go to music and audio. And where there, right there, we have the voiceover. Because as I shared some of those examples, we had some that had voiceovers and some that did not, just so we can add a little context to what's going on. So being that I'm doing this for like a class project, I do want to add some context to it.
And Claudio, I know that I mean after you finish your voiceover, I know you'll be able to kind of move it around and manipulate it like like on within the track. But is there a recommendation for like kind of where to set your starting point? Just if you want to try to record it as you're kind of watching it go through on
Yeah.
the timeline.
Yeah, perfect. So yeah, for example, like if as I move the playhead, if I start there, that's pretty much like where the recording will start.
So where the playhead is where when
Yeah,
you start
yeah.
recording, it'll actually go from there.
So I want to move it to the beginning.
Okay.
Um, let's go back to voiceover. So here we go. Let's hit record. 3, 2, 1. Good morning. It's day 47 on the Oregon Trail. I've never missed plumbing more. All right. There we go. So so
We
you
call
mentioned
that foreshadowing, by the way. That's
foreshadowing.
going to come back later.
Are you able to hear that? Okay, let's see. The
No.
voice. There we
There
go.
we go.
Good morning. All right. So this first little bit, that's kind of me counting it in 3, 2, 1. So what I'm doing right now, Jesse, is trimming that piece where I said 3, 2, 1 because it caught the one.
Yep.
So I'm gonna give it a little bit of time to just let me zoom out. I'm gonna give it a little bit of time for it to kind of come in before I actually start to say something. Good morning. It's day 47 on the Oregon Trail. I've never missed plumbing more. So what I might do here at the end, because my voiceover was quicker, let's trim this just down. First off, let's trim this voiceover, and I'm have 8 seconds because that was the default that I used for in Firefly. So I'm gonna bring it down to about 6.5 seconds. Um, In Firefly, you can do two, I think it's 2, 4, or 4, 6, 8. So I decided to do 8 seconds just to make sure I have enough. So there's my first voiceover right there. Now, um, before I add another voiceover, I do want to show this right here. I'm going to zoom in because it's hard to see unless you zoom in. In between each of the clips, you're going to see this little box right there. It's very faint, but I'll tap on it, and so I have transitions between the scenes. So this is where you can get creative, like go dissolve, or you can do like you have like the push-ups, push left, or zoom in or zoom out. This is
Otherwise,
again,
by default, it'll just quick cut to
it's
each.
a quick cut,
It'll quick cut to
which
each scene.
which that's kind of a nice cinematic look, which I'm going to keep it at those quick cuts, but I did want to point those out so that everyone knows where they're at. So let's move that playhead there. So Jesse, I'm going to do another quick voiceover right
And by the
here.
way, even as you're doing, sorry, because
Go
even as
ahead.
you're doing all this, it's like so amazing how you have the full functionality of what you'd be doing in a full video editor on your computer, and you're doing this entire thing on your phone.
Yeah. So here we go. 3, 2, 1. My spine has officially entered pioneer mode. It no longer aligns with society. All right. So let's trim this out. And let's go ahead. Here I am waking up and
I think this predates like foam pillows and like sleep number mattresses. So it's
sleep there.
yeah, they didn't have that.
Not to plug them.
Back on the Oregon Trail. That's right.
Back on the Oregon Trail. Okay. So what I'm going to do here, just do a couple of I think um
By the way, I
let's
don't
see.
even know what you put in the prompt for this one, but just I don't want any of what that is. And so for those reasons alone, I would not be able to survive on the Oregon Trail in the 1840s. That looks dry and terrible.
It probably was. It makes me think of those Lord of the Rings little things that they had.
Lembas
Lampas
bread.
bread.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nerds here. All right, here we go. Inventory check. 2 biscuits, half cup of flour, and vibes. Vibes are low. All right. So again, going for kind of a comedic you know, look at the Oregon Trail here. Let's do a little zooming, cutting right there. Let's trim this one. So what again, just we're gonna go through, add some voiceovers here. Maybe what I might do is just let this one play through without let's see, let's hit play. Oh, Jesse, we talked about on those examples like a time lapse.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't set up like a time lapse on one of these. So I think what I'll do is maybe make this one a time lapse and not do a voiceover, just kind of let it play. So we can get away with kind of creating a time lapse here with a video by just speeding it up. So
Oh, okay.
let's do a little demo here. So we got 8 seconds to work with and with the clip selected, let's go to the bottom here. And there we have the speed button. We're going to tap that. Um, and so at the bottom, this is a nice indicator at the very bottom. You see this showing you you have 8 seconds.
So using
There.
my quick math skills, I would think if you make it 2 times, then it's 4 seconds. So we're
Okay,
doing a
so
little.
students are using math here. All right, so we got 4 seconds of a speed up. So let's see how now because when I did that speed up, let me go back there to let's go back here because I've sped that up. Like the sound will be a little like sped up as well. So not too bad. So you hear the crunching. Um,
Yeah.
so I'm gonna go ahead and leave that. And because this is gonna be a day in the life, I may just bring it to like 2.5 seconds, just so there's not just like no. We'll add a soundtrack, but I'm just gonna speed up to about 2 seconds. Here we go. Super time lapse. There we go. Okay. All right. Cool. All right. Let's go and add another voiceover to this part here. And so let's see, voiceover, and we walk about 15 miles a day, or at least that's what it feels like. My boots disagree. All right. Trim and go, trim and go, trim and go. Here we go.
And I love, by the way, like we're taking a more comedic angle of being on the Oregon Trail, but the nice part is depending on what kind of project either student or teacher is working on, like you can actually add factual information or additional kind of context for why we're seeing what we're seeing.
Here we go. Let's go for another one. We reached a river. It looks aggressive. We can cock the wagon, ford it, or accept our pioneer destiny. All right. Yeah, definitely having fun with these, Jesse.
The dysentery may be coming from drinking that water.
All
So
right. Okay, so
don't drink the water.
we're getting to that dysentery. So I'm gonna do some just because of for sake of time. Let's do some speed ups here. Let's do the same thing here. We're gonna speed up. So uh it's a nice this is I was blown away. I just want to show this. I was blown away
Looks
with the
great.
firefly. I mean, look at that. Those are buffalo there. Just completely blown away. Um all right.
Wait, there's sound effects for that?
Yeah. Okay, let me add a voiceover for this one. This was going to be fun coming up to the next one here. Look at that. Majestic, peaceful, thriving. And meanwhile, I haven't had fresh vegetables in weeks. Okay. That's the voiceover right here for the buffalo Roman there on the let's do a little speed up for that the buffalo
I
and
have a quick question for you.
yeah.
So, first of all, I love the fact, and this is something we're going to talk about later, but like you're using your phone to do all of this, including the recording of the audio. Now, oh, I know the answer to this question when I ask it. So, like, I'm using my phone, but I want to optimize the audio the way I would in another, like in other tools where I can like enhance. Can I do that with the audio voiceovers that you're doing right now?
Oh yeah, that is definitely a doable thing. And so I'm going to get to that here. Let's do a speed up here just to speed this clip up. Yeah. So I usually decide to do that towards the end, just so I have all the voiceovers already done. Because so while
Oh,
we're
so
here,
you could level them all together.
yeah. So I should
Okay.
actually no, you're right. Let's since we're here, I'm going to go ahead and do that. Let's enhance. So yeah, which is if anyone, Jesse, like Time Magazine voted like the enhancements are enhancements.
One of Time Magazine's top 50 innovations of 2025.
Yeah, this just wildly crazy. So,
Worth its weight in gold alone.
oh yeah. So so I would have to go to each one. So there you see the enhanced speech at the bottom. And it's set to 90% enhancement and then background noise. What this means is the higher you go, that's how much background noise you're leaving in. And then that's how much you're leaving in. So I'm leaving in about 10% of background noise, and that's based on my voiceover. Um, I can do that in the video as well, but I want to leave the audio from the video the way it is. So let's hit play here. Looks aggressive. We can cock the wagon, ford it, or accept our pioneer destiny. And I love that you can hear the water in the background right there. Okay, this is the moment we've been waiting for
I
here,
want to hear
Jesse.
the Firefly audio effects.
So here we go. Let me do a little adjusting right over here. Okay, here we go. This is okay, I'll go ahead and let me do the voiceover and then you can hear the sound effect here. All right, here we go. All right. 3, 2, 1. My stomach just made a sound that feels historically significant. All right. Let's hear the actual while we're here, let's trim this clip here. And then let's do an enhancement for that one as well. And then here we go. Oh, my stomach just made a sound that feels historically. Okay. Let's go ahead and bring this volume down just so you can hear that. Because I was blown away by the Firefly doing that. Oh, my stomach just made a sound that feels historically significant. Actually, I don't even think I need a voiceover. I think this is even better.
That's so funny.
Oh, my belly. I don't think I can make it to Oregon with this affliction.
Oh my God. That was amazing.
Funny.
Okay, let's go. We got a couple more. So now we got the campfire. So I think he survived his dysentery, really, to be completely honest there. All right, here we go. Voiceover for the dinner tonight, lightly roasted regret with a side of dry biscuit. 5 stars. All right, let's hit play. Dinner. Let me trim that because that's my.
Yep.
Let's do that. We'll do an enhancement right there. What I love about this too, Jesse, is so like I don't have to stay on that as it's processing. I can go over to the next piece here. And so we talked. I did mention that there is some moment of a solemn moment here. So, if you're not familiar with the Oregon Trail, there was some many sad occasions where not everybody made it. So, we're gonna add a little bit of a moment here. We lost somebody today. The trail doesn't slow down; it just keeps moving west. So, even though we're having some kind of comedic happenings to this video, to this day in the life, we do want to take a solemn moment to acknowledge what happened during the Oregon Trail. All right. Last but not least, now we didn't make it yet to the Oregon Trail. This is day 47. So at the start we said this is day 47,
It's just one
and so
day.
just one day. Here we go. But so do we, because somewhere out there is Oregon, and it better be worth this. And if not, I'll blame the oxen. All right, here we go.
So here your audio ran long,
Yes, which is great. This is a great example. So I'm going to do some trimming.
right? So you did well, it's becoming the standard beginning trim. We can
Let's
move that to the front, and then let's see where we are in the back end. See, it's still long.
Now we're going to use the speed option here.
Oh, I
So I
see.
was
You're
only,
slow it down to make it a little bit longer.
yeah, there we go. Let's see. I think
So smart, Claudia.
that should give us enough time right there.
Look at that.
And let's enhance this voiceover right here. Here we go. Just hit play. But so do we, because somewhere out there is Oregon, and it better be worth this. And if not, I'll blame the oxen. There we go. Perfect. It's still processing the voiceovers. Oh, it just finished. But so do we, because so much cleaner.
Now, is there a way to apply the enhancement and that leveling to all of those audio tracks? Or
so I'm looking right there at the moment. So on the other options, we had that those
yeah,
little
the little apply to all.
so not yet. Obviously,
okay.
it's not. I think because there'd be times you may want
to have individual
adjust. So, but that would be a great feature to have, like multiple, just apply to all, especially when you're doing a voiceover. So, all right. I think I don't know, just I don't know if it needs a music background because it has the kind of the audio from the clips, but just if I wanted to add some music,
you could add another like stock audio, like Western style
right
thing
there
in the background, right?
Yeah. So I just go to sound again, hit the plus sign, music, soundtracks, which there's a lot of them here. So let's see. Let's try Western
Dysentery on the Oregon Trail.
Dysentery on the Oregon Trail. Oh, look at this cinematic orchestra. Let's see how that sounds. Oh, yeah,
it's a little too. It's a little too intense, vibey.
Yeah. Let's see, Western guitar. Okay, I'm gonna add that.
Sure.
So I'm letting that download. There it is. Now before I even hit play, what I'm going to do is it's already selected. That. I'm just gonna bring that up. So it's set to. I'm gonna drop that down just so it's not so.
Have you noticed that in general?
Good morning. It's Dave. Go ahead.
I was gonna say in general, I've noticed that when I tend to use background clips, I wind up putting it in like the 9 to 13% volume range, and that's like a perfect background leveling music.
Agreed. Yeah, that's pretty much like what I'm doing as well. Just really quick, what I did there, because the music track that I added was about 3 minutes long. I just trimmed it, and I'm gonna just delete that last half of it. And then here's the feature I like about the audio any audio is you have the audio fade. And I'm gonna have that fade out. Like so that. As this video fades out,
the last 2 seconds.
If not, I'll blame the oxen. And so it's still catching up there. So perfect. I think we got one, like maybe one, because Jesse, I don't know, whenever I'm looking at videos, think of this like if we were to go back in time and like we're gonna post this on whatever it was, whatever
The
social media
1840s
platform,
version of Instagram.
1840s
That's right.
version of social media platform. I don't want, the wagon next door to hear me or to hear what I'm watching. So I need to be able to read what's happening. So what I love about the feature here is I'm gonna hit that plus sign. We've got the titles and this right here, the captions. This is just, I'm going to go ahead and let that happen, create captions and let it do it as I'm talking. Um, I find that Premiere on iPhone, I mean, look how fast already the captions already there.
And by the way,
It's,
really important thing to note, right? Those captions, if you're looking at the timeline right there, they came in as individual objects. So let's say that you see something and you're like, oh, wait, I have to correct something or make a change. You're not just stuck wholesale with all those captions. You can make whatever change you want to the individual captions as they're coming up.
yeah. And so what I'm doing here, I'm actually going to move my title. So that way the title comes in and then now, boom, there's the captions. So and as you were saying, Jesse, if I wanted to go in there, 'cause I love, like you said, because they're all separated, I can go
Yeah.
in and edit that caption because there,
Like, look, it
it's
says
day
day 4-7 instead of 47. We can get rid of
47.
that
There we go.
space. Boom.
Yeah, and then
So
so
easy.
each of these things, each of these captions are editable, so you can go in. So what I may do now is let's go to that caption, hit style, and if I wanted to, um, I can like select one of these. So now, I have kind of a nice. This was kind of, I think this one's the one that,
I like the
yeah,
follow along.
that follow along with. And what I'll do is go back to style and instead of the color, let's see, it's got, I think it's defaulted to red that this one will do. Let's see. Yeah, it'll default to red. So whatever is being spoken, it's going to be in red. However, I can go and change the font. So, I can maybe do something like that and it should affect all the other ones. So
Look at
that,
that.
which this is
Great.
wild. So this is just so good. All right. Cool. So Jesse, we've got this day in the life of the Oregon Trail done on my iPhone. One
Let's
last
see the
thing
finished product.
yeah, one last thing. So let's hit play. Good morning. It's day 47 on the Oregon Trail. I've never missed plumbing more. My spine has officially entered pioneer mode. It no longer aligns with society. Inventory check. 2 biscuits, half cup of flour, and vibes. Vibes are low. And then we got the fast forward, boom, boom. We walk about 15 miles a day, or at least that's what it feels like. My boots disagree. So I'm noticing that the captions
We reached the river.
are a little
Looks
behind, so I
aggressive.
just
We
a
can
quick
park
edit.
the wagon, board it, or accept our pioneer destiny.
So that's just, and it could be
Look
a
at
delay
that
too. as
majestic,
I'm
peaceful,
in Zoom.
thriving. Meanwhile, I haven't had fresh vegetables in weeks.
Oh, my belly. I don't think I can make it to Oregon with this affliction.
So there's a little bit of a delay right here.
And I think that's coming from the
Dinner
Zoom, but on the
tonight,
phone.
lightly
Yes.
roasted
Yeah.
regrets with a side of dry biscuit.
But
5
it,
stars.
it captioned what he said.
We
too.
lost somebody today. The
That's
trail
so
doesn't
funny.
slow down, it just keeps moving west.
But so do we, because somewhere out there is Oregon, and it better be worth this. And if not, I'll blame the oxen.
So there's a couple of, again, just a little.
If we had
what-
unlimited time, there's a couple
Yeah.
changes we'd make. Extend the beginning, which again you could do in a couple different ways, right? If he slows this one down, that'll create more time, which can give us the time up front that we would need for that. But I think this was a good example of just all the different things you could do. Now, quick question.
Yeah.
Assuming we make all those other changes that you and I just talked about, how would we then share that out?
Perfect. Yeah. So what we'll do is on the top right corner, you have your the share button there.
Wait, what did you just call that? Is that what
I
it's
called
called?
it a share. No, I heard someone say that once. Share
I like
button.
that. It's an
Yeah.
arrow, but it's
Yeah,
for
it's a
sharing.
share.
So it's
So
the
the
share.
share
It's
button.
Sharo.
It's
I
not.
like that.
That's not official. I just. It's a term. So they're like Claudia called it Cheryl. That's not what it is. Okay, so then you have your resolutions. Honestly, this is me, but I was like, I don't know why someone would do 720, but at least 1080. Um, I like everything 4K because then it always gets compressed when I share on that social media
And for the
platform in
listeners, obviously
1840s.
that impacts the file size.
Yeah, and I mean, thinking of back in the 1840s, I'm sure that they didn't have a lot of hotspots back then. So
Yeah, I
they
think it was
probably,
720. Back then.
720 would probably been a good a good a good format to use. Yeah. So then you just gotta let this export take, and then it'll be saved on. Since I'm using my phone here, it'll just be saved to my camera roll, and then I can go ahead and share this. Being if this was a student project, I mean, Jesse, if we had like if we created a classroom in Adobe Express, like you can just create a classroom, and the students actually can add them through like a gallery
I
version
was
or
just
something like
about to
that.
say a great way of collecting those, if you were doing that with a student, would be doing it through galleries. Um, but if you're doing this, if you're watching this and you're a student that's in higher ed or you're higher faculty, obviously, if you don't have access to that, you could do it through YouTube or anywhere else where you publish video content.
And of course, if you don't have access to like if your students are lower grades, you can do
Good
everything that
morning.
we did.
It's
All the like as far as like think of the concept of a day in a life. I mean, you can do that in Adobe Express as well. So I mean, it's the you'll have the tools to be able to create this there. So boom, there my video is now saved onto my iPhone there, and so again, I can share it on all the different platforms. So yeah, really cool way to day in the life. We saw the examples, the teacher one, and so now like this is having some fun with like you know a very something that is very relevant to like using the classroom. Of course, you can make one of your own day in a life, like waking up in the morning, your daily routine. You'd be surprised like the interest that I'm always interested to see what other photographers, other creatives, other educators, other teachers, like how their day goes. I mean, even each other, even like us on the team, like I mean, we almost know what how all of our days go. It's like,
I think at this point we've worked together long enough that we know all that, but we
exactly.
still love seeing that content. I still love seeing, especially when we're like at events or doing different types of things, because we're at so many different types of um, in-person events, that it's great to see what each of those things is like. But Claudia, just to kind of as a wrap up,
Yeah.
what's some advice that we can give to our viewers for like keeping filming simple? Like, so if we're not generating content and we're not using stock content,
Yeah.
just for what's like three go-to tips that we could use for filming content to make these day in the life videos.
Yeah, for sure. So definitely like if you're filming with your phones, if your phones have like that stabilizing ability, definitely take advantage of those things. But if you have an older phone, just keeping it steady. So if you're capturing, like if your students are taking turns or even yourself filming yourself, or filming content, hold the camera steady. One of the things that I like doing is like keeping my elbows close to my side like this, so that way my hands aren't shaking. You'd be like, this is basically like you're stabilizing your hands. So almost like you have like you're a tripod yourself. Getting closer to whatever you're
Or using an actual tripod that is allowed.
or using a tripod, yeah. Yeah, or like if you instead of using the zoom on the camera, I would get closer. Sometimes when you zoom in, the quality some may degrade. So like moving in closer for some shots, if you're able to, definitely. And then I would also like take the third tip. So first steady, getting
Holding
closer, and
steady.
maybe
Second one's
getting
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 closer instead of
closer.
necessarily using the
Yeah,
zoom on the phone.
and then it would be to film like clips like 5 to 10 seconds. I wouldn't like film so long because then you're gonna have to
But just
trim.
remember, you can just film and always cut. So it's always
Yeah,
good to, right? Wouldn't you say like err a little bit on the longer side, just because you don't want to
yeah,
find then you have something too short. But one
yeah,
thing that Claudio did a great job of demoing during this was the fact that you could use that speed option to increase or decrease the length of the clip. So if you have some cool B-roll or something that is a little bit short, you could always just change the speed of that to get it to the size that we want. And so
yeah,
those are three great tips, right? So holding it
yeah,
steady, getting closer instead of zooming, and also shooting the short clips. But shout out I also want to give Claudio a shout out here, because there's one other thing he always does. He shares this with us all the time, but it's uh planning, right? Storyboarding.
oh
And you
yeah,
have a little template. I
storyboarding.
don't know if you want to share the link for everyone. I know it's our last thing we could do here before we drop
Yeah,
out.
yeah. No, this and definitely like I can share it on socials as well. Yeah, storyboarding will help you. Like if you plan out the shots, obviously, like or index card storyboard. Like I said, I got one I can share on social. Just plan out your shots so you're not just standing there. Like I definitely that's something that I do in my content creation. It's like plan out ahead, whether it's a shot list or actually like physically like how am I going to shoot it? It's a wide angle. Is it really close? Is it super, super close? So yeah, for sure.
And
Good.
so this was amazing, Claudio. Thanks so much for And by the way, extra points for using your phone the entire time to do this entire demo. So thanks so much. We hope you enjoyed this week's edition of Adobe Live Education Edition. And we're going to be back in 2 weeks, right?
Yes.
We're not going to be here next week, but guess what? You'll be joined by Claudio and I again in 2 weeks in studio for podcast magic with Adobe Podcast. You won't want to miss it.
No,
it's going to be incredible. Yeah. We will see you soon. Thanks so much for watching.